Coming up on today's podcast, we got some interesting new technology that's going to be available to you EV lovers, in case you're worried about getting charged and that sort of stuff. It's a friendly little piece of technology. Also, that we hate to say we told you so moment, battery technology is changing before your eyes. We'll get to a little bit of that. And the United States Postal Service has had a little bit of a change of heart, it seems, regarding the new EV mail truck that may be coming to your neighborhood. Also, it seems that GM is getting people to sign an NDA. For what reason? Wow. And both the Corvette and the Chevy Blazer will be all electric by 2025 is what we're understanding. So we've got those stories and much, much more coming up on today's podcast right after this. Hey, everybody, welcome into the Counter Show, our podcast for the masses. Say hello to my good friend and co-host Keith over there on the other side of the desk. How you doing there, Keith?
But let me just quote the late, great Colonel Sanders, who said, "I'm too drunk to taste this chicken."
Ooh, been there. Been there.
What's happening, Jay? Hey, everybody.
Not much. Speaking of chicken, had me some chicken. I was in Nashville. Had me some Nashville hot chicken, man. I didn't know that they stopped at that, though. You know the recipe?
Yeah.
The Nashville hot chicken? You've had that, right? It turns your lips are like completely like balloons after you eat the first bite.
Yeah.
Have you ever been over to Southern Grist, the brewery there over in East Nashville?
Yeah.
So they have a restaurant attached to that place. It's pretty cool, but they take the hot chicken sauce that they use on the chicken, and they pan fry like half potatoes, like a roasted potato, and then they sear it. They shake it in this hot chicken stuff, and it's like super fire red hot. Matter of fact, the guy that I was with, my buddy Josh, he loves super hot food like that, and he said he got like 2 in him, and that was all he could handle, man. So just say, go over to Southern Grist and get you guys some of that there Nashville hot potato.
I was not in Nashville this last weekend. We were fly fishing, and I had a guy who was like, "You're from Nashville?" And I went, "Yeah." And he goes, "When?" He's kind of a restaurant food industry guy, and he goes, "Yeah, the hot chicken thing, like, just came out of nowhere. Like, people think it's always been that way in Nashville. It's like the last 10 years it became a thing."
Yeah,
and I was like,
true.
Yeah, Shark Tank.
Yeah, that's it, man.
Yeah.
I mean, there were 2 places, Hattie B's and Prince's, that have always been around. They've always had the hot chicken recipe, but then it became the Nashville hot chicken recipe. Then there were lines out the doors, and and then all of a sudden there's a Hattie B's in Las Vegas. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It kind of ruined it for everybody else.
Which good for them, I guess. I mean,
well, it is. And let me tell you something, Keith. You're absolutely 100% correct. Everybody, stop coming to Nashville. I was downtown Broadway.
You can go to Las Vegas and get that same hot chicken. We just established that.
Absolutely. Here's the difference between Las Vegas and downtown Nashville. And don't take offense to this, young people. But there's more to life than puking in the streets and riding, in a pedal tavern.
Yeah.
Getting drunk.
Hold on. For those of you that don't know what this is, it's like the marriage of. It sounds cool until you realize that when you're drinking, when you're having alcohol, the last thing you want to do is physical activity.
And that's exactly what I'm talking about.
People sit on a long bar on both sides of the bar and pedal, and it helps power the trolley that runs through the town and there's kegs and taps and all that hooked into this thing so you can keep drinking while you're biking.
For the record,
Which
I would like to disclose that those pedal taverns have sober drivers. You're just powering it with your.
I mean, do you really want to be doing like rapid stops with a beer in your hand and like
No,
Nashville
I'm smarter than that.
potholes
That's
and,
what I said.
you know?
I realize that you guys are having a great time, but the older you get, the smarter you get. You want to sip and enjoy your beer like in a recliner or something, or maybe at the edge of a bar in cold air.
I'll do you one better. Like, and I'm very hesitant to give out the insider pro tips for Nashville because I just don't want you people coming here. If you're not already here, don't. I'm not kidding. Like, just. I'm not trying to be, there's that whole Southern hospitality or whatever. We're full. Okay. Yeah. Now, but here's the pro tip. If you do happen in the neighborhood, the worst place you can go to experience Nashville is Broadway. It really is.
It is.
It
used to be
right.
The totally opposite. The best place to experience Nashville was Broadway.
Right.
And I can give you the exact timeline of when this changed.
Oh, I know, yeah, and so people are like, well, but I want to hear good honky tonk music. Yeah, that the best is not there. It's elsewhere in the city because the people that are really good, they don't want to deal with all that like crazy tourist nonsense. Oh, but the food, elsewhere, also in the city, not there.
Yep. There's
anything you throw at me that you're like, I want to experience the best of Nashville. It ain't on Broadway.
No, it's not on Broadway. It's off of Broadway, and you have to walk several blocks to go to like Germantown,
right,
or go to East Nashville. 5 Points, that district. Yep. All those areas are super nice. Now here we are giving away secrets to Nashville, but I will say this: there was a person that was with us. We stayed downtown at the Hilton for 2 nights because I went to see the Screaming Cheetah Wheelies. They had 3 nights in a row at 3rd and Lindsley. It was a reunion set of shows. Was only intending to go to 1, but they were so good, we were able to find 4 extra tickets for the next night and went to the next night as well. So Screaming Cheetah Wheelies, Mike Ferris, Steve, Rick, Bobby, Paul, all of you guys, thanks for an awesome show. If you're listening to this, I'm going to get you to listen to this because I'm going to tag you. Thank you for doing what you did. It was an amazing show. I look forward to more music from you guys. Thanks for 2 great nights. But anyway, a couple of folks one of the folks that was with us wanted to know why it was so crazy now. And I said, well, it wasn't this way, and you would have had to experience Nashville in its true form prior to about 2012. And they're like, well, what happened in 2012? The show Nashville. The TV show Nashville absolutely ruined Nashville.
Yeah. Well, and they used to film. There were areas, I don't live in the city, that they would come out very close to me, I'm not going to say where, and film. Because where I lived looks more like historic, traditional Nashville than the big skyscrapers downtown.
Right.
And so, yeah.
Well, what about the Natchez Trace Bridge over 96 out there your way? Have you seen it lately?
They put guardrails up on it, or they were going to.
They're putting an entire cage over the whole thing.
Yeah, that's too bad, man.
People don't realize why, but that is the #1 location in the state of Tennessee where people jump off, commit suicide, and that's why they're doing it. There's big signs out there that says, "Call this number first before you jump." But because it's gotten so bad over the last several years, they decided to put it up. And what's sad about that is that bridge. There's only 2 like it in the world.
Yeah,
and that's one of them. And it's an all concrete structure. Obviously it has rebar in it, but it is everything about it is all concrete. There are no metal pillars or arches or anything like that. It's all concrete, so it's pretty cool. It's a good looking span.
I mean, part of me wonders, are you really going to stop people that want to do that? They're just going to go somewhere else, right?
Probably. All you're doing is putting a Band-Aid on a bigger problem, right. I think, in that situation. And sadly, the architecture of that beautiful bridge
it's an ugly Band-Aid, right?
It's an ugly Band-Aid. It's an eyesore at this point. I mean, why don't you just go ahead and get paint out and start spraying graffiti all over it?
Oh gosh, did I just make it an enclosed tunnel bridge or whatever?
Right. Do something. Do something special. Yeah. Anyway, man. Wow. But I had a good time anyway. Nashville's hot. 100 I think we had one night I was there, Keith, and I do not miss this. It was 87 degrees at 9 6:30 p.m. With a heat index of about 101 that night.
Yeah, it's
Awful.
not that bad right now, but yeah, it's been that way for a while.
Well, we're getting your heat now out here. We're up in the 90s, upper 90s, and so heat wave for the PNW, just like it was last time you guys came.
It's a mess.
It is. I'm glad I have AC. That's all I got to say. I'm ready for some cooler weather already. So I like my cool nights and cool days. So anyway, well, let's get started on some of these stories, Keith. We got some interesting pieces, tidbits of news here that we found. We always we like to bring you some of the interesting topics of discussion in the automotive world and beyond. This first one is very interesting to me because, to me, it seems like a very wise use of robotics. It's not really a robot, if you will. It just has, it's smart and it can roll around. That's about all it can do.
It's a robot.
It is, but it's not like
it's a robot. If a Roomba's a robot, this thing's a robot.
Right. I know. I just have a hard time calling a Roomba a robot. But anyway, Ziggy. Ziggy is an autonomous robot that saves you a parking spot, then charges your EV. Pretty cool, huh?
Yeah, so how these work, did you watch the video?
I did.
All right,
I did.
So there's an app, and you can integrate that app with your CarPlay or Android Auto, so you can see it, like, not just on your phone, but you can use the app on the infotainment screen on your car. And if you're going somewhere and you need to charge while you're there, the idea is that they deploy a fleet of these, maybe a dozen of them or whatever, in the parking garage or in a parking lot. And that way you don't need to run EV charging to 50 different sites. You just send it to the site that needs it, that has an EV in it, right?
Right.
And so with the app, you tell it you're headed there, and it'll go find you a parking spot, and then it'll tell you which spot to meet it in, and it parks itself in the middle of the spot so that nobody else can take your spot. Mm-hmm. And then you pull in, it gets out of the way, it backs up, and pulls up behind you, which if your charging port's in the front, I guess you're going to have to back in or whatever. And then you plug it in and you take off. Now, this is basically a glorified power brick. Like, you know how, Jay, like if you're traveling and you have your cell phone and you're like, well, I don't know that my cell phone's going to last all day while I'm on the plane, so I'm going to take this power brick, right?
Right.
So it's a power brick on wheels for EVs, and they're pretty big.
Yes, they are. They say it can fast charge. It's like level 2 charging capability.
Yeah. You still have to plug it in yourself. You still have to plug the cable in.
Right.
And it works with, right now, it works with a lot of the major brands. I think they launched it with Jaguar's I-Pace.
Mm-hmm. Yes, they did.
But it works with Audi, Mercedes-Benz, Nissan, Porsche, and Stellantis. Interestingly enough, who's not on that list?
Tesla.
It seems like a pretty big miss to me.
You want to know why?
Yeah, I do want to know why.
This is something that because there's no standardization of these. We were talking about this the other night. Remember, if you recall, right? Which we need to discuss, and we'll get into a whole episode about the standardization of this stuff. But I think that Tesla's like it's on its own island, right? Pretty much.
In terms of their superchargers, yeah. Now you get with a Tesla, or you can buy them additionally as accessories, adapters. Mm-hmm. So if you go to a non-Tesla charger, you can use one of those adapters and plug your Tesla in. But the charging rates vary, meaning Tesla's superchargers have their own high-speed charging rate and voltage, and like all of that stuff is Tesla proprietary. That's what you mean,
right?
Yeah.
Right. Which is an interesting thought. Proprietary stuff, right?
Yeah.
Are they signing NDAs over at Tesla?
Well, I mean, it's just, if it's the truck, yeah. If it's the semi,
right. So
you're not allowed to film that thing right now.
Well, there you go, folks. Just leave us a comment on your thoughts of Ziggy, the robot, the EV charging robot, which I find to be a very convenient type of offering for the EV market. Again, Keith and I say that these are evolving times in the industry, and innovate or get out of the game. And I think that this is a true sign of innovation, of how best to meet your needs as a consumer. Making it easier to get a charge on your EV seems to be the key factor right now for everybody, getting everybody into an EV. So we'll see what happens.
How long until a bunch of drunk dudes try to ride one of those Ziggies?
Oh, dude, you just let the cat out of the bag. Now they're on it. It'll be like in a week. There'll be a YouTube
Let me
video
just
of
quote the late, great Colonel Sanders, who said, "I'm too drunk to taste this chicken."
What is that from, man?
That's Talladega Nights. That's Ricky Bobby.
Oh, man. I totally overshot that.
They were doing an interview with him. And
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. Dang old man, I tell you what. Yeah, so Ziggy plays guitar, is what I thought. But apparently he's charging cars now. Wow. So our good friend Scott, Keith.
Yeah.
You remember Scott, the cyclist.
Of course, yeah.
The cyclist, the mountain climber, the beer drinker, the one and only Scott, my good friend. You met him. Good dude. He is totally a big fan of the Parts Counter Gurus and especially the Counter Show. He enjoys the podcast and the videos, but he's always looking for tidbits of information to like dribble our way to hint that we may need to talk about something. But here's the odd thing about this. He brings this to our attention. However, we've been talking about this for a long time, and that is battery technology.
I hate to say I told you so.
Yep.
Like,
battery
a year and a half
technology.
at least?
Oh, at least a year and a half, 2 years, yeah. And this is actually more of a stock find, in my opinion. If
I was going to go that way with it, too.
Yes. Yeah. If you guys are smart, you will start looking into battery technology companies and battery the industry is changing right before our eyes, and they prefaced this article and they titled it this way. It says, "The Forever Battery That Promises to Change the EV Industry." Now, what do you make of that, Keith? Do you think that it is actually a forever battery?
Yeah,
I don't.
So it's clickbait, right?
Right,
I mean,
absolutely.
It never ceases to amaze me how the stuff that people like, you just can't help themselves. They just got to click on it, Mm-hmm. And so this is no different, but there's truth in this.
Absolutely.
So, it is absolutely, Scott. It is we're talking about it. It's worth talking about.
And thank you, Scott, for bringing this up to our attention.
I just the guy that titled it, like the guy that wrote it, is he's clearly trying to get clicks.
Sure,
but no less significant. He's trying to coin a term called the forever battery to make it a buzzword. It's solid state.
It's solid state battery.
Next-gen battery technology.
That's right. And QuantumScape is the company behind this particular version of it. And it is a solid state battery. And Keith and I have told you guys over and over again that the answer to this problem is getting more out of it with less volatility, as well as the long-term cost effectiveness of that. And I think that what's nice about this piece of information, what QuantumScape, how they are getting this message across is that they're telling you right now, first-gen batteries, what you're seeing out there, on the road right now, the Teslas with the lithium, the solution style batteries. You're not going to get the life out of those that you will out of a solid state battery with the changes that they are making to these things.
Yeah, but here's why, right? Like, so why, right? Like, so people go, well, why is solid state better? So first of all, boys and girls, lithium battery technology has been around for decades.
Forever.
This is not like new to EVs because, we started using it in EVs 12 years ago or whenever it was, right? Mm-hmm. I was first introduced to them in model RC airplanes. So we used to have, glow fuel or, gas powered, some sort of liquid fuel powered planes. And then we got into rechargeable like nickel metal. But the problem with those were they were very heavy. So it had to be a big plane to be able to support that. The light stuff, you couldn't lift it. Well, then lithium comes out, well, or at least it comes out in the RC industry, and it's lightweight. You can fast charge them. Pretty good current, pretty good flow rate. They can take a pretty good. It was a decent application, right? As they say. Mm-hmm. The problem with lithium, because it's a liquid base, which can turn into gas, is it's very unstable. It doesn't like to sit. If it goes 6 months without being charged, you can basically puff out. The batteries they bulge. They get they go bad. And so we're at our limit with that technology. It's kind of like we've been getting 50 miles to the gallon out of internal combustion engines for 40 years now. Mm-hmm. It's nothing new. Like the fact that somebody can get 45 mpg this year on a car is nothing new, right?
Right.
So, same with lithium batteries. We're kind of at our limit to how far we can push those. They're gonna expire. They're gonna go bad. You got to be prepared to replace those, which could be expensive. Solid state's much more stable. Much more stable.
Absolutely. Lightweight. And you can flat stack these things a lot easier than you can the current solid state batteries. Outside of what the GM Ultium platform is, which is basically a skateboard platform, which is everybody is going to, their battery platform is a lot more unique than even the said Tesla battery platform that they have. And, of course, Honda has adopted that in one of their future electric vehicles, the GM Ultium platform. So, which by the way, if you are interested in some information about Honda's EVs, go check out that Sony Honda EV video that we just shot recently over at partscounterguru.com. And click on the YouTube icon there, and you can get right to it. Or just go to youtube.com/PartsCounterGuru and hit that subscribe button, hit that bell for notifications. We appreciate that. That helps support our show and keeps us doing what we're doing right now. But at the end of the day, Keith, we continue to beat that drum that the battery technology is continuously changing. And if I'm someone that is wants to invest into some companies. I would be looking at the battery technology companies, right? This is one of them right now, right
They're
here.
on the New York Stock Exchange. Their ticker code is QS, which stands for, I'm sure, QuantumScape.
Yep.
So one of the factors in solid state has been price. It's been very expensive to adopt this technology. Right. Richard Dyson, that vacuum guy, right, that everybody knows. We talked about this over a year ago, that he was going to make a car and they were going to go solid state, but he pulled out because it was too expensive. So companies like this that are getting into cost reduction in manufacturing of those solid state batteries, that's going to be the game changer.
Absolutely it is. And here's the other thing. The lifespan of a solid state battery is much greater than a liquefied lithium battery.
Yeah,
or
not forever
style.
though. Not forever.
It's not a forever battery. But I think the goal here, a lot of people out there are not trading their vehicles every 4 or 5 years, like has been kind of the norm. I personally hang on to vehicles 10 years, put 100 to 200,000 miles on them. And they are saying, QuantumScape is saying that their battery technology will get you to that 200,000-300,000 mile range overall over the lifespan of a vehicle. And I think that's you kind of have to take it for what it's worth when they say forever. It might be forever as you're the owner of it. So as long as you're owning it, you'll probably never have to replace that battery. But eventually it will have to be replaced. So there you go. And the overall cost, that drives the overall cost down of maintenance for the vehicle. So that's the other thing that they're talking about, cost reduction. Not only from the manufacturing standpoint, but also the long run overall cost to maintain your vehicle. Pretty cool stuff. So make sure you guys get over to quantumscape.com. Go to the New York Stock Exchange and go check out QS. Go ahead and go buy you some, man. I'm sure that QuantumScape would love to have you over there on their team. QuantumScape, hey man, reach out to us. We'll sponsor us one day, will you? Thank you. Whew, man, I don't know. Maybe one of these days, we'll have a QuantumScape or somebody like that. Maybe Kentucky Fried Chicken, man, will sponsor this show. I don't know, right?
Sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, maybe we should invent a battery. We could sponsor ourselves.
Yeah, I'd settle for you dressing up like Colonel Sanders and coming on the show, but yeah.
I've been known to do that occasionally.
There's your Halloween. There's your. You carry around a chicken bucket, man. Going to SEMA.
There you go, man. Put it on my head and be Buckethead,
Yeah.
just like the dude that was in Guns N' Roses, right? Oh, speaking of, chicken coming up everywhere. Hey, so how painful is it to get mail for you? I mean, is mail a problem for you anymore?
Hold on 1 second.
Okay.
I hate to say I told you so.
All right, yeah.
Wait a minute. Could I hear that again?
I hate to say I told you so.
Okay. People, all you people out there who doubted us, we're not wrong.
What I gotta say, what an absolute. I mean,
Right. Come on, right?
yeah. So we've covered a lot of Postal Service news.
Right. Live from the
And I think in terms of the most animated, emotional responses, in terms of quantity, right? Like you get the occasional, like, you've crossed them on Lordstown or whatever, and they're going to let you know. But in terms of numbers of loyal fans,
right,
the Postal Service is so polarizing. You either love them or you want to see them burn in hell. I mean, it's like,
This is true, man. We should just do a segment on U.S. Postal Service comments about this new long life vehicle, or not long life vehicle anymore, moving into their new their postal delivery truck.
So we've done previous segments. Okay, so this postal truck, this is turning into a soap opera. So, they first announced they were taking bids for a replacement truck to the LLV, the Grumman LLV, if I'm not mistaken.
You are absolutely correct. Yes, sir.
And they awarded the contract to Oshkosh Defense, the most well-known automotive manufacturer on the planet.
Which, let me stop you there. One of the comments.
Right. This is where I'm going.
Okay. You going to go there? I'll let you have this
No,
one.
it's fine. Go ahead.
It's like, so one of the comments, I rolled. I almost shot water through my nose as I was taking a sip when I read that. They are a manufacturer of overalls, by the way, right? That's pretty much what this guy said.
Yeah, right.
Right.
Yeah.
Why are they making U.S. Postal Service?
Because I said, like, this is not a traditional automotive manufacturer, and I caught hell from people going, "Come on, idiot! You've never heard of Oshkosh?" And it's like, no, I never said I've never heard. Well, actually, I probably did say I've never heard of them as an automotive manufacturer.
Right. And I knew of Oshkosh Defense, but
that's because you're
defense,
looking up
militaries. Well, but I was in the military. I'm very aware of who they are. But Oshkosh is a place in Wisconsin.
Yeah.
Okay, so they're all taking on the name of the town: Oshkosh Clothing, Oshkosh for Babies Crap, and now Oshkosh Defense, and now they're making U.S. Postal Service vehicles. So
then we get more comments that are along the line of, there's no way that they're going to be able to plug these things in, and what's going to happen if they forget to charge them? And it's like, well, you have a routine. Like, these are not difficult.
You got to put
what's
gas in.
What's going to happen if you forget to lock the door to the store at night when you go home? Like, yeah, it could happen. You could forget to plug it in, but
do your job.
Yeah, it's part of the job. What happens if you forget to deliver my mail? Right?
Exactly. Right. Well, it's like, the plane doesn't fly itself. I mean, the pilots have to go through a series of checks before they put you in the air. So
but where are you going to put them? There's no place to put them. It's like, well, you have a gated lot where they keep these mail trucks already.
Right.
I mean, it's not like, it's going to get because they're vandalized. People are going to be using them for their own chart. None of that. And then you get into, like, when we said, well, it's only going to be a little over 11 miles to the gallon fuel economy on the new ones.
On the new ones.
Which really isn't hardly any better than the ones that were made 30 years ago.
Right.
And you get responses that are like, well, that's with the air conditioning on and the windows down.
Right.
Yeah, okay, because it's 95 out in the summer and they're not going to run the air conditioner.
Right.
You're telling me it's going to get 12 miles to that gallon better with the air conditioner off?
Or cold weather's a problem for them. They're going to say in northern states, which is BS.
I mean,
it is not a problem, guys. In fact, some of the solid state technology that's coming about will actually operate very nicely at minus 30 degrees Celsius. So that's pretty cold.
But I understand there's a lot of loyal postal employees out there that don't like it when they're...
I am the biggest loyal fan of the U.S. Postal Service, and I said that this is great because I feel sorry for the people that are driving around those rags that they're driving around now. This is change that's coming, and I guess people just have a problem with change, and that's it. But you know,
just go. We welcome your comments. They're entertaining at the very least. You know, go ahead. I love the let me educate you on kind of stuff. Occasionally, we do learn something from some of these comments. So, by and large, everybody, the majority of the comments that we get are people that have about an eighth of the facts calling people that have 75% of the facts stupid.
Right. Isn't that crazy?
It's, yeah.
In a nutshell, can I please have Bert again?
I hate to say I told you so.
Okay, in a nutshell, with these U.S. Postal Service trucks, the mail trucks that are being produced by Oshkosh Defense, initially, the USPS said that they were only going to put about 10% of them being EVs. Well, that has changed. What is the percentage now, Keith? What are they saying?
Well, okay. First of all, let's back up. They got sued by 16 states in the union when they made that announcement.
That'll be a decision maker, right?
Because of the really poor fuel economy and the things that we have previously addressed. Hey, Jay, what are we, the parts counter?
That would be Gurus.
There it is. Yeah, there's a reason, everybody, that's in the name. Not saying we're perfect, just saying we tend to have our facts before we go to print. So the answer to your question, Jay, is now they're going to look at doing 50% of the fleet.
Correct.
For the purpose-built mail Jeeps or whatever you want to call them that are going to be electric.
Right. And that's good.
Yeah.
I think that,
like I said, if Amazon can do it with their delivery vans, so can these guys.
I have personally no problem, go ahead and embrace the EV in certain areas. I think it's a no-brainer, whether it's the state mandating that you have better emissions or not. I think it's a no-brainer to kind of fit the need of what purpose it is there.
Right.
So no doubt the gasoline mail truck in certain rural areas is probably the way to go because of lack of infrastructure in case of those situations.
But, sure. No argument here, right?
Right. But each area, each region is going to have some sort of maintenance crew around or available for these situations. You have flat tires. You do run out of gas. And occasionally a valve might break in the engine.
You just get what my mail guy gets, which is occasionally like Amazon, like they ship through the mail service occasionally and it's on a Sunday and the guy's like, I just couldn't make it to your front door. And it's like, really?
I just watched him drive by. He didn't attempt to get in my front door. There you go. So.
But look, I'm not saying gasoline engines are bad.
Nope. We never say that.
I'm just saying, like you said, this is if it's purpose built and it helps in some way, better fuel economy, not barfing emissions into the, whatever it is, right?
Your driver, maybe have a conscience and they enjoy driving an electric vehicle. Maybe that's their purpose.
And here's another favorite of mine that I saw in the previous segments come. Jay, the Postal Service is not supposed to make money. Well, so wait a minute. So you're telling me that the whole idea behind it is that they lose money hand over fist and then billions of dollars from the taxpayers have to go to deal with that chaos? I understand you're saying they're not supposed to make a huge profit. They're also not supposed to make the massive losses that they're making right now either. And that's a little bit of a side topic. But the expense of these is the biggest factor. That's why I was going there. In why they pushed back to not deploy them because they were going to cost so much more up front as
Right.
opposed to the gasoline equivalent. But I would almost argue, and then, we're going to have to come back and visit this in 5 to 10 years.
Oh, of
but
course
the
we will.
maintenance on these things should be less.
Absolutely.
Cost of ownership should be less.
You're putting tons of mileage on these things. Moving parts will wear, and like I said in the previous video, two videos that we have done on this, I worked for a company that had one of the largest contracts on rebuilding those engines, and let me tell you, we in some cases couldn't keep up with the product demand to rebuild the thing. So yeah, they're breaking all the time. Granted, they've been out there for a long time, 30 plus years, if not more than that. So it is time to change. So I'm kind of glad to see them committing to this. 50% it's on its upcoming next generation delivery vehicle. Postal vans approved early this year will be battery electric powered.
If you've watched this segment this long, or you've listened to it on the podcast this long, that first of all, thank you. Second of all, if you disagree with this or you agree with this or whatever the case may be, that's fine. That's fine. We're not I'm not in this to persuade, or this isn't debate club. We're just trying to give you the facts, and sometimes we'll throw in a little bit of color, and this happens to be the case on that, probably because of all the history. But you can go tell the Postal Service what you think. Okay, you're right. You're especially if you're here in the United States and you're a taxpayer. They have extended the comment period on this until August 15th.
Correct.
So, we'll try to put a link out here where you can find that. But I'm sure if you just Google it, you're gonna get right to it, and you can just tell the Postmaster General what you think about this plan. And if you disagree with it, tell them that. If you think it's a good move, tell them that. If you think they need to be subscribing to our podcast, you need to tell them that too, because theirs is called Mailing It In, and I can't think of a worse name for literally. The Postal Service has a podcast called Mailing It. Did you know that?
I did not know that, man. That's almost like the phone company phoning it in. You know what I mean? It's oh, gee whiz. I can give you some of the comments that are already made about this, not on our, but I'll share with you some. Let's give you some beef. You want to know where the beef is? The beef is right here. So we got Norm Chacho says, excellent. Delivering mail is an excellent use case for EVs, and they'll no doubt be cheaper in the long run than the gas versions. For extra credit, start installing solar panels on Postal Service buildings. Now see, what have I always said? Innovate or go home.
No, now let's have fun here. Can I read some of the replies?
Absolutely.
Go use some other business as your guinea pigs. This will be a failure.
Ooh, I like the response to that from Norm Chacho. Guinea pigs for what exactly? Commercial solar panels that have been around for 70 plus years, or EVs, which have been around for over 100?
And the Postal, quote, service isn't a business.
Right. It's true. This guy's laid it out.
It isn't, and I know. You're like, it's not a business. Yes, it is. No, it isn't. It's a business.
Oh, and here's someone who is a carrier.
Managed business.
This is from a carrier of the U.S. Postal Service. Vegas Colonel says, my carrier route is less than 100 miles a day, so this would likely work. Smaller countries have had some success with mail delivery via EVs, so we'll see. I agree. You got to be open to it. And again, like we said, in certain rural areas, the EV might not be practical. So I think the approach to being 50% internal combustion engine and 50% EV is probably a smart approach to this.
So this is a good one. We'll let's just we can cut this anytime, but yeah. So not trying FL Forrester here, not trying to be contrary, but with the heat wave going on, various municipalities have urged consumers to cut back electricity usage because the grid is stressed. Yet USPS is going to add 50,000 electric vehicles, and every car maker imaginable is falling over themselves to go all electric as soon as they can. What will happen in future summers with so many EVs needing daily charging and adding to the grid's burden? It seems like we are not prepared for this influx. You know what? There's some truth to that.
There is.
There's some truth to that.
I just
you're not
say move out
charging those mail trucks during the day.
Exactly. And there's a lot of other appliances that take up just as much energy as these do to charge. So that you're not going to win that case. If I were you, sir, I would move out of Texas. I'm just saying.
Well, I mean, there's other parts of the country right now that are 100 plus. I just came out of Arkansas and it was 104. But.
Well, true. But Texas is the one that does not utilize grid from grid usage
True.
from other parts of the country.
It is going to be a problem at some point. They're going to stress the grid even more, but I just don't know that adding mail trucks and fleet trucks, those are being charged overnight when there's less demand on the grid. So I don't...
Right.
It's sort of a valid point that you've manipulated into being more relevant than it is. All right, I'll leave it alone.
Absolutely. All right, I'm going to go one more. John 368 here says, I can't believe nobody was smart enough to sit down and say, wow, these vehicles spend the vast majority of their days idling or low-speed stop and go. We should find a better solution than just internal combustion gasoline engines. Even making them conventional, full hybrids would lower fuel consumption considerably. Even more so if they had a plug-in option. These vehicles only drive about 50 to 100 miles per day. It just takes an 8-hour shift because of the stop and go, idling, prep, etc. Look, when you're not, when you have these vehicles and you're not running them, they don't idle. You don't use any energy when you stop.
Well, it'll still run the climate controls, but
it'll still run the climate control, but it's not an idle. It's not like you're running an engine. It's just, that's the thing, man. It's that the context of this is, be mindful that it will not use as much energy as you might think. Wow.
Did you see the response to that? It was all thought through, including the cost of electrical charging infrastructure that doesn't exist and costs money.
Okay, first of all,
you
you're
pay
wrong.
for that with all the fuel costs at the current fuel rate in less than a month, bro. And,
absolutely, and you're
it's
wrong.
Been thought through. They just didn't want to deal with it. Yeah, right.
Exactly. And also, someone says actually the average postal truck drives 18 to 20 miles a day.
Yeah. Yeah, and this is what I'm saying, man. It's polarizing. You just get these battle cries on both sides that are like,
right. So here we go. All right, everybody. Thanks again. Like Keith had said, just make sure that you are subscribed to Parks County Guru, the YouTube channel, which is youtube.com/Parks County Gurus. Make sure you subscribe, hit that bell for notifications, give us a thumbs up, because all of that stuff helps support our show. And we get to continue to do these things, and we love doing what we're doing. But most importantly, please leave your comment, leave your opinion on this. We have mailbags that we like to read these comments, so we anticipate we'll get some really interesting comments on this. So please do so. So thank you for watching and or listening to that. So all right. Yeah, it's so funny, man. The mail.
I can't wait. It's going to be,
It's going to be a good one.
They're going to have their pitchforks out. They will.
Oh man, I'm telling you, they're going to run us right out of town, man. So where's Cadillac?
Man, this is such a love-hate situation for me.
I know.
This is getting reality TV kind of level of.
I can understand for me, and let's get into this. I can understand for me, Keith, why GM is doing what they're doing, and I don't know that I have much of an issue with it, considering the number.
All right.
So
what
let's
are
get
they
into
doing?
It. Okay. Apparently, GM has asked some of their Cadillac Lyriq reservation holders to sign a non-disclosure agreement.
Define some.
I think it was around
20.
20 people, yes, out of all of their reservations.
In exchange for that NDA, they got a $5,500 discount.
Right, and that's
now,
it.
The NDA says they can't talk to anybody outside of GM about their experience.
That is correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now let's go back to what you were saying, which is you don't have a problem with this per se. I'm not trying to put words in your mouth. Just carry on. Right.
I don't have a problem with this per se. Only in the sense, and I believe that there may be some language within the NDA that here's who has the bigger problem. The NHTSA has the bigger problem because they fear that they will not be getting adequate information in regards to potential safety issues that might be going on with these vehicles. But as long as there's language within those NDAs that allows the NHTSA TSA, and I think that GM needs to think about this, that allows them to basically have some oversight over the NDA, what's in the agreement, and what information can and cannot go out. I think GM is wise not to let their technology get out there. This is sort of like what Keith and I have been saying for the longest time. Most automakers are doing live polling with these vehicles.
Right. Okay. So
and that's what's going on here.
Yeah. So you remember the old joke, like if Microsoft made a car, this is like circulated like an email like 20 years ago, like it'd be full of bugs and they'd have to patch it every month, and there'd be, service packs, and you'd have to, okay. So in the sense that they're offering people $5,500 to test pilot these vehicles as early adopters, and they're still, from what I understand, they still have to buy the vehicle. They're just giving it to them for $5,500 less.
Right. That's right.
Okay. That I don't so much care about. I feel like it's weak for a player like GM that's been in the game 100 years to be going into this. We're gonna put 20 cars on the road that we're gonna almost sell for full price and use them as beta testers. Right. That's not what I would expect out of GM. That's what I would expect out of a startup. I would expect that out of Rivian. Okay?
Yeah.
Karma. Fisker.
Right.
Sorry.
Yeah. Well, didn't Tesla have some sort of
Maybe
like
even
NDA?
Lucid. Yeah.
Didn't they have an NDA for the autopilot
Way
stuff?
back. Yeah.
Yeah.
But to do this now in your General freaking Motors, right?
Yeah.
I'm just not sure that that's the image that we want to portray. So what are you telling people here? We're not sure we have our shit together. So we're going to ask you to not tell everybody that we don't have our shit together. And in exchange for that, we're going to give you a $5,500 discount.
Right.
And that'll give us time to get our shit together. I mean, really?
No,
really?
I think you're right. You have a valid point, and I do not disagree with that, because it seems that way on the surface, that is what's going on here. We've got a vehicle. It's the first of the platform that we're going to put out for you, but you got to sign an NDA. I think that there's some stuff on this car that we have yet to see in the market, and they don't want anybody to know it until they've got it out there in people's hands.
And I hope you're right. But that's not the message that they're sending. So let's.
Oh no.
I hope you're right. I hope this thing is awesome, and there's some game-changing things on it that as soon as they hit the public radar, that it's going to be, we're going to be blown away by how cool it is. I hope that's the case. But if that's really what's going on, then put 20 of these out there, make them sign the NDA, and then take them back.
Right.
Don't
They're making
sell
them keep them. Yeah.
Right? Like.
Yeah.
Then they're still yours, and you don't have to get into any of this, federal issue of, if it's my car, am I allowed to talk about it kind of stuff, right? Like, that's...
Right. Well, it's disappointing to me, for content creators who we are people who like to discuss these things for our audience, and this is one of those situations where if you're not one of these 20 people selected, if you're outside of those 20 people selected, you will be able to talk about it. So I want to know what the timing of this is. That's the bigger thing for me. How do you put 20 people out there, less than 20 people out there? Are you only going to deliver 20 vehicles? Select vehicles to select people that have agreed to this, and then you're holding back from your other reservation holders until this beta period is over? How long is this going to take? That's the question. So if I am a person who is a reservation holder of a Cadillac Lyriq right now, and I'm not one of the 20 people here that's been selected, I'm kind of scratching my head at that point. It's almost like it's very similar to what Rivian did when they said we're going to jack prices up after people had already reserved them for a specific price and they had to walk that back. I foresee this not going down, by the way.
I think you're right. Now, let me just, so we did some comments in the last segment. Mm-hmm. This could be fun. This gives me kind of insight into what people are thinking. This particular my Goat Ate My Homework says, so GM gave 20 people the option to be paid $5,500 to get early versions of a new car and participate in a focus group, but required them to only share their experience with GM.
Right.
This is pretty standard. I used to test new hand soap products from a local manufacturer, got paid a few bucks and had to share my experience with them, was not allowed to make public comments about it. What's the big deal? Yeah, this ain't hand soap.
This ain't hand soap, dude. This is a $65,000 vehicle.
Yeah. And it's from a 100-year-old company that's been making cars long enough that they don't need focus groups. They have enough internal employees that they put 20 employees out there on the road with these cars, and that's their test group. Right?
There's two things that could be going on here. First of all, there could be some proprietary technology in here that they are not wanting anyone outside of these 20 people getting their hands on, and they want their feedback from them to test this out. Or they have really low confidence in the product that they're about to put out when they launch this thing.
I mean, that's it, right? Like, so regardless of the intent here, and again, I hope you're right, and I hope there's some awesomeness in this thing. It's not sending the right message, and they should know better. They're stumbling all over themselves like this is their first rodeo in testing a new type of car. It's not even their first EV. It's far from their first EV.
Right. It's not. And I mean, there's no NDA for the Hummer. There's no NDA for the Bolt.
Somebody's going to get fired over this, man.
There was no NDA.
I'll bet you. Mark my words. Somebody's going to end up getting fired over this.
Good deal. Scott Satellite says, the fact that Cadillac is trading an NDA for a fat discount to me says they know the rollout on this vehicle is going to be a shit show. But this being Cadillac, we already knew this. Didn't we? Love the brand ambassador spin GM is trying to put on it now. Also, if Family Vacation had a 2022 sequel, Lyric would be a perfect successor to the Road Queen family truck because it looks like a parody from every angle. Well, I love it.
Yes, but how can you know how it's going to be good or bad when we don't have real world experience?
You don't, and that's the thing. That's the sad part about it is that we have no idea. Can you isn't this thing being built down in Spring Hill?
Well, at least part of it is, yes.
Right. Is there any way we can swing down there and go check these guys out?
Sure. I'll just let me phone Mary up and ask her for front door. I mean, how do you I'm not iJustine, though. I don't know that they're going to give me...
This is a long shot. Hey, Mary, Mrs. Barra, if you would please, reach out to the Parks County Gurus here at parkscountyguru.com. We have a place that you can do that. If you would love to come on our podcast and talk to us about why this is necessary for the Cadillac Lyric, we would love to know when we would give you the platform to do so. So make sure you reach out to us at parkscountyguru.com. How's that?
And we'll put you in touch with the mail truck people in case you guys are interested in making a bid over there.
Right. Sorry. They're going to need some EV
Couldn't help myself, man.
Oh, Lord. Lord. All right, man. Well, it's a big deal. You know it's a big deal. I know it's a big deal, and I just hope that it doesn't come and bite them in the rear end because there's some exciting things coming around for GM, dude. And we're going to get into some of those.
Yeah.
So, wow. Can you cue Bert one more time because this is truly probably the best example of that.
Wait a second though. What are you talking about this previous segment or are you where we're going in? Do I need to have it ready or you want it right now?
Like where we're going.
I hate to say I told you so.
Okay.
Right. Okay, so Netflix has taken a lot of beating lately, right?
I hate to say I told you so.
Yep. And they've lost subscribers.
I hate to say I told you so.
They've raised their rates exponentially over the last
I hate to say I told you so.
5 years.
Every one of those things we've talked about in advance of it actually happening.
Right. And so here we are now. The result of that is, and run again.
I hate to say I told you so.
They were going to have to get creative in their revenue source, right?
Yeah.
So it seems that they are going to do that. So with all of these new streaming platforms out there, everybody's making their own movies, their shows. I mean, and you have to have exclusivity to and look, even now the NFL is going to be offering what they call NFL Plus, where you can stream games, man. That's pretty killer. You used to be able to get it through DirecTV.
Yeah.
Right, DirecTV like I do now, which is the NFL Sunday Ticket, but that's going to be going away after this season. So there's going to be other ways to stream it, and the NFL has figured out, well, you know what, we might as well be the ones that are getting in on this. So Netflix has paid attention to what's going on out there, and they have found a way to resolve the issue of them losing so much revenue. And so they're going to start doing product promos in some of these streaming shows. And one angle is auto manufacturers being part of that. And Audi has teamed up with Netflix for the very highly anticipated Gray Man series that's going to be coming out, right? Is that a series? Is it a series? Is it a series, or is it a?
It's in my queue. I believe it's.
Actually, it's an action flick.
Yeah, it's a movie.
Yeah. So
but here's the big deal about that.
Yeah.
We talked to all the. I'm not sure. You may become alienated here, Jay. So Joe and the Russo brothers, Joe and Anthony,
right,
made the Avengers Endgame. They made several, but one of the most watched movies of all time.
Right.
They were behind. They did some blockbuster Marvel movies.
Right.
And they are also behind this movie.
Yep.
Billy Bob Thornton's in it. Ryan Gosling. I hear he actually talks in this one.
And you've seen it?
No, not yet. It's in my queue.
Okay.
I saw the trailer the other night. But it's a big production product from Netflix. You know, some of their stuff has a higher budget than others. This is a big budget one. And, first of all, the Russo brothers are no strangers to car partnerships. There's been so many of those in the Marvel movies. Anything from Acura to Audi to, they've done it. But it isn't really. So it's been done before, but maybe not quite at this level.
Right.
On a streaming service, although some of these streaming services are putting out blockbuster movies that rival some of the in-theater movies, right? So, yeah. So
are you excited about it?
Well, I like the premise of the movie. Like, he's a ex-CIA and there's some it's kind of a new era of, it's almost like next generation Tom Clancy kind of stuff.
I got you.
Yeah, I'm into that. Absolutely. And it's got cool cars in it. Sure. I mean, those e-trons that they're using, they signed this deal with Audi.
Right.
Those are nice.
Yeah, they are.
I mean,
I've seen a few out this way, and they're beautiful vehicles. And I've got people that were asking me about, would I buy one? I'm like, sure, I would.
Yeah. I mean, you're gonna. Yeah. I mean,
it's a luxury. It's a luxury sports car, in my opinion. Even if it's a four-door, it doesn't matter to me. I mean, I think Porsche has proven that you can be a luxury sports car. But anyway, this is pretty cool. This is, again, the main thing here is you've got Netflix that has found a way to generate revenue from losing it from other ways, and by riding on the back of Audi with their vehicle,
sure,
to promote their vehicle within this movie, and it has generated a ton of revenue for these guys. So I think the future will be, you'll be seeing a lot more of this, I do believe.
I think so. Is it a long-term solution for Netflix? No, I just don't think so. But this is fine. Like car sponsorships in any kind of a movie or TV show, even TV show. I got excited there and I put the emphasis on the wrong syllable, but yeah. Look, man, I mean, all the way back through the 60s, there were, TV shows with that had famous, iconic partnerships with car manufacturers. So that's not, we've always loved that. I say bring it on.
Absolutely. I'm with you, man. I don't disagree with that. So congrats to Netflix and of course, Audi for getting promoted like crazy in a great movie that's coming up. So I'll watch it. And I'll report back. How about that?
There you go. And the rest of you, make sure you hit that subscribe button.
Subscribe. Hey, man, what do you usually do on the internet? Can Boomhauer refresh our memory on that? I love that, man. What do you do usually on the
internet? What is? Wait a minute. Let's be clear here. What does Boomhauer do, or what do I do?
What does Boomhauer do on the internet?
Yeah, man, I'll tell you what, that dang old internet, man, you just go on there and point and click, get in there and talk about www.com, and you got then naked chicks on there, man. You go click. It's real easy, man.
Dude, that never gets old.
It doesn't, no.
I don't care what anybody says. That is funny. So let's combine these last two, if you don't mind, because it's kind of EV-ish again. Two things, and the first one, we're going to talk about the Corvette EV.
Do I need my bow tie for this, or
no?
Okay.
But the Corvette, you got two versions. You're going to have a completely all electric a BEV Corvette version, but you're going to have an electric assist. The electric assist is what we're hearing is going to be coming first, but the all electric version, they're saying, could be built at the Lansing Grand River plant, which takes it out of Bowling Green. Yeah,
the Corvette's not going to be made in Bowling Green.
Right? Isn't that crazy?
Nah, hold on. Let's get to the bottom of this, okay?
All right. Yeah. So the bottom line is GM, as you guys know, are going fully electric by 2035, which means a complete switch over. That switch will include the Chevrolet Corvette, but it looks like they will get a full EV model well before the 2035 deadline.
Yeah, and GM's
saying.
Commented on this. Like they've said, we're doing an electrified version of the Corvette. It's coming, you guys. Like it's as sure of a thing as that can be.
Right.
This far out.
Now, why would they be moving it to another plant?
Well, gosh, let me just go listen to like our previous podcast episode for that answer.
Right. So for those of you, for those of you who haven't been listening, what we can tell you is that there are certain factories that are equipped to build electric vehicles, so all the necessary equipment is in place. The GM factory, the Bowling Green plant, has been dedicated solely to the Corvette for how many years, man? I mean, this goes way back.
The early 80s. They moved it from St. Louis, I think, in the early 80s.
Yeah. And it's still there, and I will say to anybody out there, I would encourage anyone, if you've never been to the Corvette Museum in Bowling Green, Kentucky, you need to go. And you can also, of course, it's COVID. During COVID, they shut it down, but you used to be able to take tours of the plant, which is also really fascinating, man, to see the automation that's involved.
And there's a racetrack across the street. It's the Corvette test track. I've been on it. I've raced on it. I've 2 wheels, not 4.
So yes, you have. That's right. I forgot about that.
NCM.
So 2 things I want to bring up to everybody's attention. First of all, I did a video early on in our career here, and you can find that over on youtube.com/Parts County Gurus. There is a video that I did about just asking a Corvette Club members what they felt about the new C8 coming out being a mid-engine vehicle. It did not come with great applause, I'll say, but overall there were a few people that were kind of like open to see the change. And then now here we are, we have it, and it's actually turned out to be a really good move for Corvette in that regard. They've won some races with this thing now. Not that they weren't winning some before, but they have won races.
It's not a dog. It's a good car.
Right. It's a great car. And now just add e-assist to that. Can you imagine where that'll put you? And I know that's what GM Performance or Racing is looking at there with that going, okay, so we know we have a monster V8 in this thing. I think they said the e-assist is going to have that 5.3 liter in it, though, instead of the 6.2. That's just what I'm hearing. But you go all electric, then that changes the game. You have to move that vehicle to another location to produce this thing.
So, yeah.
The other thing is you had asked me part 2 to this. Oh, and by the way, you did a a video also from the Bowling Green plant, which I encourage everyone.
We got
to
in
go.
that car before it was released to the public, and I did not wear my Hawaiian shirt that day, so you might be disappointed if you
right.
or
So you
any
could,
gold chains and exposed chest hair. I was,
exactly.
I was incognito. I stood out like a non-Corvette owner.
Yeah, you can check that out. Absolutely. Yeah, it's a great one, man. I love it. It's very well done, dude.
Thanks.
You were excited. You could tell.
It's a great car, man. It's
the third video we did on the C8 is the one that we just did, I don't know, maybe 3-4 months ago about this particular announcement that GM was going to go electric on the Vet. And we asked everyone, what would you name it? And they speak to this. They don't know for sure if it's going to be a C9. You asked, should it be a platform change?
Oh man, that's right. This is my angler. This is my angler fish that I wanted on the logo.
Right. We were going to call it the Corvette Angler.
The little light bulb.
Yeah,
right?
with the bulb at the end because it's electrified, right? Or chasing electricity.
Yeah.
Maybe the hybrid would be the Angler. I don't know.
Right.
But I said personally, I felt like that they had to move. If they're going fully electric, yes, you go to an all-new platform C9, and that's it. Now, will the production of Corvettes end in Bowling Green if they move it to the C9? I don't think so completely.
Yeah,
I really don't.
They're not going to do. Okay,
No.
This is just my opinion, not Jay's, but they're not doing that. So here's why. Like Jay just said, and we've discussed many times, they've got to have the space to do the EV platform. I have not been inside that Bowling Green plant, but I know roughly how big it is.
It's huge.
And I think what they probably... Here's what makes sense. That they have a transitional period where they do an e-assist or something that's not fully electric, and they're going to have to do one of those in a different location. Right. And they might even move production out of Bowling Green for a period of time and do the full electric version somewhere else with the intent of eventually coming back to Bowling Green after they retool.
Right.
Because they may not be able to do both simultaneously. Do I think that there needs to be panic in Bowling Green and everybody needs to freak out that they're not going to make Corvettes there anymore? That the chances of that happening are so slim. They're going to keep making Corvettes there. They're just going to have to do some transition, moving pieces around on the table while they move forward to a more electrified version.
Exactly. And for me, this is why I wanted to bring this up in this podcast about this, because I do believe that as people get wind of this, there might be some panic by some folks out there, especially people living in Bowling Green or people that drive in from Nashville to work there or whatever. But I'm with you, Keith. I just don't see that happening with this plant. They have to go test the waters build, and once they retool for an all-electric version of this, they'll continue to produce it there in Bowling Green. So come on, guys. We're on your side.
And the people that are commenting on this are hung up, and this will tie right into the next couple models that we're about to talk about, because they're freaking out because they're looking at it and they're going, well, I hope they don't do with it what they did with the Mustang EV, where they turn it into a station wagon. Right. No. Look, you guys, they're not. They have more sense than that. GM is not going to take their Corvette brand and start making a crossover with it. Not like that.
There is speculation that there will be, but I do believe that
they're not going to get rid of the performance.
They're not going to get rid of the performance car. Correct.
So they might use the brand for a few years and try to do it like Ford did, but I just don't. GM and Ford intentionally do things differently to be different. For example, Ford went the way of the Bronco, which has historically been their off-road vehicle, overland vehicle. And they brought it back. Right. And GM had something that was historically an off-road capable vehicle called the Blazer, and they brought that back too, but it's a station wagon. And so they went completely different directions in sort of concept here. Now Ford went off-road, gasoline engine, big tires, all that. GM went pavement queen, which is fine. And I think especially when you consider where that Blazer is headed, it makes sense. Because they're going to electrify that Blazer, and it makes sense for it to be more of the design and style that it is now, as opposed to an off-road version.
And as we look back on that, when we talked about it, how we thought they just completely missed the opportunity here. In reality, when we're looking at what GM proposed after this particular version of the Blazer came out, we thought, well, they should have gone the direction of the Bronco. Why would they not do it? But I think that they had all intentions.
Well, they have the Hummer for that, right? Now we see
exactly.
that. Okay.
Now we see that. But it's an electric vehicle, but they have the Hummer. Now you're catering to that more of a luxury type sport SUV or crossover, if you will. This new Blazer, the all-electric Blazer that's going to be coming out, really, in my opinion, is an absolute 100% direct competitor to the Mach-E. If you look at it, if you look at this thing, that is who they're going to capture with the Blazer EV. Here's what's cool about this thing.
Yes.
They're offering this thing in a front-wheel drive, a rear-wheel drive,
What if I can't make up my mind, Jay?
Right. Well, I guess you'll have to just have a subscription for that, and you can pay for it this month and not the next month. How about that?
What? But you can get the all-wheel drive version. I kind of stepped on your
Yeah.
So,
you can get the all-wheel drive
or rear.
Yep.
Or all.
Or all. Correct. Which is unique.
That's really cool, man.
Yep. It will be the first one out there that has that type of an offering. Now, what makes that happen?
Because it's electric. Because you don't have to deal with transmission placement like you would in a traditional gas engine.
That's right.
Where you would have to retool half the vehicle to make it a rear-wheel drive.
It is the Ultium battery platform, the skateboard that they have come up with, that they have produced. And I said this, it's going to be the winner for them, for GM overall when it comes to their electrical vehicles, all electric vehicles. Because they can use that skateboard platform on a wide variety of vehicles and cover it all. All they have to do is make some minor modifications. And in this case, with the rear-wheel drive versus front-wheel drive, it's very easy. It's just motor placement, man. That's it. It's ready to go. You can either have it on the front, have it on the back, or have it on both.
On all of them, right?
Right.
And
absolutely.
This is the right move for this product line.
Mm-hmm.
It is.
It is.
I am so convinced of that this is where they should have, I hope, that they were headed all along when they brought the Blazer back. Because honestly, it's the most successful move, I think, for that Blazer. Now, the one thing that I don't care for is, I guess, I just wish, do they have to use the Blazer name? You know, I mean, when you look at it, it's like, it looks nothing like the original Blazer or the K5.
It doesn't. But that's the argument that everyone had with Ford, Keith, with Mustang. Why put Mustang on it? Right? Because it's not a Mustang.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the same argument. It's like, it's not a Mustang. And there are hardcore Mustang fans out there that agree with you on that. And I agree with you. It looks nothing like the Blazer. But it is a Blazer. If it looks like the Blazer that they just came out with 2 years ago, man, that they brought back.
Well, the name comes from what? Trailblazer, which implies some version of trail travel, meaning not on pavement.
Yeah, off-roading.
And
this is truly not for that, unless they come up with a higher profile type vehicle where it's got greater ground clearance. I don't know, but I think that the Blazer implies it's very fast, and to that end, they are going to be offering an SS version of this Blazer. And it is said to be over 500 horsepower or something like that, and it will get a 0 to 60 in under 4 seconds as well. So that's pretty fast. They're going to have different modes that you can put it in, almost like paddle shift. You know, there's been that, again, there's that technology that people have been patenting for like paddle type for shifting, where, as you know and I know, with it's straight on power. Hit the pedal, you're gone. There is no shifting of gears. It just goes. It's instant. Whereas there are these patents that are floating around that will allow the driver to at least feel like one with the vehicle and control that a little bit more. So we'll see if that ends up on this.
This is right around the corner too, everybody. 2024 is when these are. You're gonna be able to get from what we can tell, a 2024 model year Blazer EV.
Right, and that will be coming down the pike soon. It would not surprise me to see these out on lots or on your interweb, because Boomhauer will tell you, man, you can get anything you want on the internet these days. You don't have to go to the dealer.
Yep.
Right?
Yeah, man, I'll tell you what, that dang old internet, man, you just go on there and point and click, get in there, talk about www.wcom, and you got them naked chicks on there, man. You go click, 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 click. It's real easy, man.
So remember, if GM follows what they've historically always done, 2024 model year will be available in 23. So it's not that far out.
No, it's not. And I'm going to make a commitment here, a promise to this. Either Keith or I, we will, once this hits the showroom floor, once it's available, I will drive one of these. I would love to do a review on this just to see, because I got in one of the internal combustion engine versions of the new generation Blazer. And this is a completely different animal. This is even stretched. It's got a longer body. And that is because they have more underpinning with the Ultium battery platform. So they're able to stretch the body a little bit, which gives you a lot more in the way of comfort as a passenger in the rear.
Right.
So it'll be interesting. Those are the kind of the points that we know how fast an EV can be. I want to look at what they're doing with creature comforts and technology that's going to come along with this thing. What's going to make me, as a consumer, want to go out and buy an EV called a Blazer, right? And it doesn't go off-road.
Yeah.
So we'll cover it.
It's got to either be, like you said, luxury, features, or performance.
Right, and that's it. So, hey, for all of our videos, guys, make sure you subscribe and go to youtube.com/Parts Counting Gurus. Make sure you hit the subscribe button and ring that notification bell for future videos that come out. Make sure you're notified when they do. Thank you for that. Whew. Wow, 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 my friend. What a day. So much information. You got anything you want to add to our day? Are you good? You tired?
It's good to be back doing this. Man, I was under the weather for a bit, and still not back to 100%.
Oh, that's right. You had the vid again, didn't you?
Yeah.
You and the fam.
Yeah.
Did Side Shock too?
Yeah. Well, he didn't have a lot of symptoms, but now he's having these kind of respiratory, like it's taking him longer to recover, from oxygenation, like breathing and whatnot, which we're told by the doctors is a common side effect of the recent strains. So it's been kind of rough, but it's that's my round of it. Month or two back was pretty rough, but we know why that happened. But I will tell you this. There is no way around it of getting this stuff, and that's no doubt about it. I was with 3 people, and one of the people got COVID. Nobody else out of the group had it, and we were all in the same confined spaces, same area with each other the entire time. And so we have no idea. It's very selective. Well, you may have had antibodies because you had it recently.
Oh, I'm thinking, but none of the other folks has ever had it. They've just been vaccinated.
As far as they know.
True. This is true. See, there you go, man. I think the CDC just recently said that everybody in America has probably had this thing.
Yeah.
They've come to the realization.
It's so contagious now.
Yep. And it can be mild symptoms to no symptoms to just put you on your butt symptoms.
Yeah.
And they suck either way. So just make sure you get your stuff together and do the right thing for yourself, and then others around you will reap that benefit.
Yeah.
So is that a good way to put that?
Yeah.
Okay. You want to take us out, pal?
I will. Thank you, everybody, as always, for making us a part of your lives. I say it all the time, but it doesn't mean I mean it any less. We really appreciate it. It does mean a great deal to us. And if you're subscribed to this podcast and you haven't done it, how about going over and leaving a review for us on whatever you're listening to? If you're using Apple Podcasts, just leave us a review on Apple Podcasts. If you can't give us 5 stars, call Jay first. And
Blame it on me, man.
and have that conversation. Otherwise, thanks in advance for that. And for my pal Jay over there, I'm Keith. In the words of Ram Dass, we are all just walking each other home. See you guys on the next one.